Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra when suddenly joy spurts. Focus on joy, not on the cause. This is natural. The sutra says, on joyously seeing a friend, a long absent friend, permeate this joy. What happens whenever any situation comes, be it arrival of any friend or family member or anything happens, joy spurts in us. We are very happy. We start celebrating, but the focus remains always on the cause. If it is a friend, so the joy, the friend becomes very important, or the occasion or the cause which is responsible for this joy. This need to be changed. The sutra says, enter the joy and become one with it. Any joy, any happiness. This is just an example on seeing a long absent friend. Suddenly you see a friend that you have not seen for many days or years. Suddenly a joy grips you, but your attention will be on the friend, not on the joy. This shift is somewhat difficult, but it is important. If the focus is on the friend or the cause, then you are missing something. And this joy will be momentary, not long. Your attention is focused on the friend or the cause as normally happens, whereas it should be on the joy, not the cause. Concentrate in that situation on the joy, feel it, become one with it, and meet the friend while you are aware and filled with the joy. For the benefit of certain friends, it happened today. I am seeing a one long absent friend. He is online listening to it. It is for his benefit. Someone has asked that Lalaji, the Naqshbandi Ramchandra, his method is of analytical psychology. So what is the role of psychology and psychiatrists in the teachings, the Sufi teachings, is with special reference to Lalaji? I had given an offer to someone but that is not accepted. I will do the most of the work, but I have decided not to have any book published in my name. It is important that I prepare those who are capable, and support comes from us. Let the other be propagated in front. Many times the father promotes the son, and he remains at the background. So that is the offer. It is when I looked into each master, psychology is the very core of human life. In a word, I would say psychology is the science of coaxing. Have you seen a mother trying to feed the child? The child is not interested in drinking milk or does not like milk or a particular dish. The mother coaxes him. What is this? He uses the psychology of the child. In many ways, the master uses the psychology of the child, of the person. What does it mean? It actually means that somewhere at a particular point, the seeker is stuck and on his own is not able to move out. So masters do many techniques. Number one, if somebody is stuck at Muladhara, the first center or the second center or the heart center, then he focuses his energy on that level and softens that. It is said that there are some people, their heart is very hard for certain reasons, and energy is not flowing. So Lalaji's younger brother, Chachaji Raghuvar Dayal, he told one person, he asked what prayer I should do. He told him that in the evening, at dusk, you take a shower, sit down in a comfortable position, light incense, and cry loudly. So first day it happened, the family members thought that maybe he has remembered something of the past, that's why he's crying. Second day it happened. Third day it happened. Then they said something is wrong, because according to Hindus, crying at the dusk is considered to be an ominous sign, inauspicious. Like if early morning or in the evening, the dusk time, if a cat cries, it considers as an ominous sign. So they went to Lalaji and he said, what kind of prayer is this? That my father, or whatsoever be the nature of the relationship, he cries at the dusk time, which is an inauspicious sign. So he called, and one thing, the relationship between Lalaji and his younger brother was that of a child. The moment Lalaji called him, he ran, forgetting about his garb, clothes, if he is properly dressed, or just run. And he stood up, folded hands, with his head bent. This is important, how this is a matter of respect. Not looking into the eyes of the master, his brother, always looking downward at his feet, hands folded, and asked, She said, you told him to do this prayer crying? He said, Ji Huzur. With his head bent down. Why? Lalaji smiled. He knew what was the technique, a simple technique that Lalaji did, but this is a psychological technique. You can call it analytical psychology or anything, whatever name you give. The high names masters don't give. He said his heart was too hard and it needed to be softened. There was no way. There was emotional disturbance. So for that, he gave this. But there are three aspects of it. Number one, when you are crying, it clears the nasal decongestion and removes many blocked emotional disturbances. But this is not enough. But maybe in that case, for that person, that was naturally necessary. And also the other technique in that is what Sufis or Muslims use the word Allahu, but the focus is on Allah. The focus should be on who. Why this is done? It is said the focus should be on the solar plexus or on the earth. But in case of an individual, your solar plexus acts as an earth. So it should be on the solar plexus. When you do it, it hammers the solar plexus. When the solar plexus is hammered, it creates an emptiness. The energy pulls from the lower centers, and also it gets activated. It connects you to the cosmic womb. It generates energy into you. First, the nasal congestion is to be removed. Now the third aspect of that is silence. If you are doing 15 minutes of crying, and this can also be done with laughter. When you are laughing, you would have recalled when somebody is making jokes or making you laugh, you say that don't make me laugh too much, my stomach is hurting, my belly is hurting. What does it mean? Have we analyzed what happens when we are laughing? Its solar plexus gets hammered. With the sound of who it gets hammered. With a hookah, if you say hookah, its solar plexus works like a bellow, in and out, and that generates the energy of an individual. So three aspects of this. One is crying, then the laughter or hookah, or any other technique. The Kapalbhati of the yoga system does the same thing. And after that, the same amount of silence. Nothing else, no talk, nothing else. This completes a meditation. Osho has given it, and this was the last meditation that he gave in 1989, just before he stopped talking and entering into samadhi. He called it mystic rose. He mentioned it 7 days time. 7 days laughter, 7 days crying, 7 days silence. Then he introduced a new format of it, saying that 15 minutes for the younger ones as mini mystic rose, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So this is, the master realized that the particular point the disciple is stuck. He uses a technique because he is familiar with the anatomy and physiology, how your system works, how your breathing patterns work. Then sometimes it happens that it talks. A person is stuck at a particular point. The master keeps on talking to him about those aspects alone. And it clears of many inhibitions in an individual. I have used this particular technique with certain people in the process of their development. All these, it is natural that you want to give it a name in the modern aspect, analytical psychology, psychiatry, psychoanalysis. Master is not interested in that. The psychiatrist takes you in your unconscious state and then starts asking you the questions. The master does it in a different way. He knows where the person is stuck. Either through, sometimes it happened a long time, it used to happen, just giving tawajjuh, sending the energy at that particular aspect, particular center, it becomes softened. But nowadays things are slightly different. You have to use more talks, but at the same time the master need to be free from all those inhibitions himself. If he is lost in his own, then he cannot help the person. And this is what happens with the psychiatrists. They are not the spiritual masters, so they have not freed themselves, but they are helping the others. So Buddha told his disciples that do not start preaching the others until your master tells you. So sometimes it happens, that is what is called the authority. Ijazat means the permission. Khilafat means the authority is bestowed onto the disciple. So at times it is mentioned by Sufi Brij Mohan Lal in the biography of his father Lalaji and Chachaji, that he says that Chachaji tells Brij Mohan Lal, Bade Miyan, you look into Dr. So-and-so and look into him, and maybe we can give him the permission to engage in these meditation sessions with his immediate family members. So after one has attained a certain level of harmony within, he is allowed to engage with his family members first. First of all, we should allow this person to have a satsang, a meditation session with his family members alone, and thereafter we can give him the permission to invite the others as well. So these are the stages in which the master gives, all based on this psychology, but it is not used in the terms of psychology, but we can look into. Yes, these are the aspects of it. A mother runs behind a child. If you are taking care of a sick and elderly person behaves like a child. So you are taking the person, or as a male or as a nurse, you try to coax the patient, coax the elderly person that for taking the medicine or the nutritious foods or things like that. This is all part of psychology, but we do not know it as psychology. But each one of you will certainly have the experience of this. This was the aspect that I would like to put into starting with the biography of Lalaji, and in that, in his teachings, manifest these aspects that we call it analytical psychology, or the different, give it a name. This is what I will call it, psychology of the esoteric. There are two dimensions, esoteric and endothermic, inner and outer. Exoteric. Esoteric means the inner. So the psychology that the masters use, or the Sufi, for that matter, because you are a Sufi, you follow that path, so you consider that only Sufis do it. Every master does it. Every mother does it. Every nurse who is taking care of the patient, they are trained in the psychological aspects of taking care of the patients. I am not familiar with those systems. I am only familiar with human growth, how it takes place, how transformation happens, how healing happens. So transformation and healing are the two aspects of the two sides of the same coin. You can call it healing, you can call it transformation. When the inner healing takes place, the transformation becomes natural, or both are interrelated to one another. So everyone does it. So in that certain aspects of it, I would call it the psychology of the esoteric, and focus on that and emphasize, look into teachings. The psychology of the esoteric, when a disciple or a seeker is stuck at this particular center, somehow the other, in the upcoming work of Nivedita from Germany, Light Onto Myself, there is a chapter on this chakras and energy. In that there is a light mention of this aspect. Then the three layers of energy. Then the other aspect is the layers of sex. Everywhere the psychology is used one way or the other. How the psychological aspects are introduced or used by the master in clearing up a particular center. When energy is stuck at a particular center, the psychological aspects, the principles are used, the method, the technique is used to bring out the disciple out of that state, so that his journey becomes smooth and continuous. So coming back to the particular situation, topic, when a joy spurts because of any circumstance and situation, may it be the presence of a long-awaited friend who you have not seen for a long time, or suddenly someone visits us after a long time, there is a happiness. We express this happiness seeing that person. But that happiness lasts for a few moments. The friend and other things becomes relevant, but the focus should be on the joy or the happiness. This can be done in many other situations. The sun is rising, and suddenly you feel something rising within you. If with sunrise you do not feel, sunrise means the sun is coming on the horizon. The sky is filled with the color of the rising sun, a particular shade of red. something should begin to rise within you also. Then you forget the sun, let it remain on the periphery, that sun is rising. You are centered in your own feeling of rising energy. Let the sunrise be on the periphery, whereas on the center you are with your own feeling of the rising energy. The moment you look at it, it spreads. It becomes your whole body, your whole being. And do not just be an observer of it. Merge into you. Merge into this energy. There are very few moments when you feel joy, happiness, bliss, and you go on missing them because you are object oriented. The object that causes something to happen in you becomes more important. Whenever there is joy, you feel that it is coming from without. It is coming because of the friend. It is coming because of the rising sun or anything else. You met the friend, of course. It appears that joy is coming because of your friend. It is emanating in you from seeing him. But that is not the actual cause. The cause of the joy is within you. The other has simply given an opportunity to trigger it. The anger is in you. A particular situation happens and suddenly the anger springs forth. You have asked your wife and informed her that this evening your friends will be coming for dinner, so prepare these things. For some reason or the other, the wife is not ready or she has not done the proper arrangements. The anger springs forth. And at that moment, we say things which are not necessary at that moment or not called for that moment. Suppose your wife had asked you that when you are returning from the work, you bring these things because the whole house needs all that. You forget for whatever reasons. Maybe it is not intentional. In most of the cases, it is never intentional. And when you come home, what happens? That particular miss has triggered off the anger, and so focus is always on the wrong things. So when it is no doubt, so what happens that there you start looking at the fault of your husband or your wife, that she is always or he is always forgetful about these things. So it is, we always say that he makes me angry. He makes me angry, as if you have given him a remote control and you have become a television screen and he is using the screen to change, using the remote control to change the screens on your, change the scenes on your screen, or changing channels, a joy channel to a quarrel channel or to a fight channel. Number of times it happens, this is quite common in Trinidad, We drive our vehicles with glass up because of air conditioning. If somebody gives a bad drive, we curse the person or look at him. So whenever I am sitting with someone and a person says that, so I said, "Did he hear you?" He said, "That doesn't matter, but I have to say things." So I said it. These are the moments when I gather this is my times when I am doing my research into the human psychology. But we never look at it. The other has given me the opportunity to see what is there within me. The anger is within me. I should cure it. I should find a solution for it. Or if the presence of a friend has brought me joy or happiness, I must focus to enhance this, to increase its quantum, to multiply it, to allow it to grow, so that my whole being becomes a being of bliss or joy or happiness. The friend or the husband or wife forgetting what was asked is not the actual cause. The joy, the anger, the frustration is all within you. The friend or that particular circumstance and situation has triggered that out. The friend has simply helped it to come out, has helped, but we never look at it that way. He has helped you to see that the joy or the anger or frustration is in you. You are the cause, you are the source of it. Others are only situations in which things that are hidden in you are expressed. The joy is hidden in you, but it is lying in somewhere in some corner, or anger is lying, and on the surface we put on makeup, we put on all kind of things, but the anger is under the surface. That's why you don't see the real beauty. You don't see the aura. The aura is the lighted beauty that surrounds, the beauty of the serenity, the beauty of harmony, the beauty of oneness that creates an aura of light around you. They are not the cause. They are not causing something in you. Whatsoever is happening to you, it has always been there. It is only that meeting with the friend or in that particular situation in which whatsoever was hidden has surfaced, has come out in the open, but you do not look into. You always focus on the other. Specifically, when it relates to anger or frustration or something like that. From the hidden source, it has become apparent, it has manifested. Whenever this happens, remain centered in the inner feeling, and then you will have a different attitude about everything in life. If you are centered, that I have to look into why do I get angry all the time when things do not happen my way, or why I feel frustrated when things do not happen my way, If your focus is centered on that, then something can happen. So in order for that, here we use the method of psychology, different aspects of it. We'll continue this talk in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.